Okay. So yesterday we started talking about our interest formula, which is this one right here. Interest is equal to P times R times T. Okay, where P is our principal or our initial amount that goes in. R is the rate, and it has to be a percentage that's written as a decimal. And then T is the time in years. So we're going to continue using this formula, but this formula it's not always going to be just to calculate interest. Okay, sometimes when you have your different variables or your different pieces that are in a formula, okay, as long as you have all but one, you can find what you're looking for. So that being said, so it's possible to rearrange this formula to help us solve problems other than just calculating interest. So in this example one, we're going to rearrange the simple interest formula, I is equal to P times R times T, to isolate the following variables. Okay, so I want to start with I is equal to P times R times T, and I want to try to get P all by itself. Okay, so if I know that it's I is equal to P times R times T, we need to think back to our 10-3 and then also in grade 9 when we learned, okay, so if I need to undo a problem, okay, right now I'm multiplying P times R times T. Okay, if I need to undo a problem, I'm going to do the opposite of that. So instead of going P times R times T, the opposite of that is division. So I'm going to divide by R and T. You cross it out here. What you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other side equation. So I'm going to divide this side by R and T. So now I'm going to rearrange my formula. P is all by itself now, the principal, and I have that is I all divided by R and T together on the bottom. Okay. Okay, now we're going to do the same equation. I'm going to start with the same equation. I is equal to P times R times T. Now I want to get R by itself. Okay, so again, everything is multiplied together. So I need to divide to undo the multiplication because opposite of multiplication is division. I'm going to divide by the P and the T. I can do it all in one step because it's going to cross those out. What you do to one side of the equal sign, you have to do to the other side. So on this side I'm going to divide by P and T. Now I have R all by itself, and my equation is going to be I is equal to P times T. I'm just going to highlight. So this is now if I'm looking for my new formula, and we can almost use this as another formula sheet when we're doing our equation, so you don't have to rearrange it every time. And then the last one is I need to get T by itself. So again, I'm just going to start with I is equal to P times R times T. I want to get T by itself, but it's multiplied by P and R. So I need to undo the multiplication by dividing. So I'm going to divide by P and R, cross those out. What I do to one side of the equal sign, I'm going to do to the other. So I have P and R. So then my new equation is going to be T is all by itself, and then I have I divided by P times R. That's my last equation. Okay, so let's do an example. So what amount of money, invested at a 5% interest will earn $100 of interest in 2 years? Okay, so we need to kind of see what I'm trying to figure out. What amount of money it's invested at 5% interest. So this here, this is my rate. And then I'm going to divide that by 100. So I'm going to say that's 0.05. Okay, will earn you $100 of interest. Okay, this here is what my actual I is, because now you're going to get $100 of interest in 2 years. Okay, my 2 years is going to be my T time. Okay, so that means that what amount of money, what I'm looking for, this is going to be my principal. I need to look for my principal. Okay, so that's what I'm ultimately looking for. If I'm looking for my principal, I can look right above. I can look at the formulas I have. Okay, because I need to get P by itself. Okay, well, my formula, which I rearranged before, P is equal to my interest divided by R times T. So I'm going to plug that all in. My interest is $100. $100. I'm going to divide that by my rate, which is 0.05, times my time, which is 2 years. I'm going to plug that into my calculator. So my rate, which is 100, or my interest, which is 100, by 0.05 times 2. Okay, so my principal, the amount that I put into it, comes out to be $1,000. Okay, for me to get $100 interest in 2 years, I had to originally put in $1,000. So it says it's a your turn. So what interest rate will allow you $2,000 to earn $120 of interest in 2 years? And how long will it take $1,000 to earn $100 of interest at a rate of 1%? Okay, so each one's you have to figure out, what do you have? What do you want? I'm going to get the substitute to pause the video here. I'm going to give everyone a couple minutes to try it out, and then I'll come back and I'll give you the answer of what I have here. Okay, so pause the video now. Okay, so what we have here, so what interest rate will allow $2,000? This is going to be my principal to earn $120 of interest. This is my interest, my I, in 2 years. So this is going to be, oh, not my rate, my time. Okay, so my original formula is I is equal to P times R times T. Okay, it says what's the interest rate? So I'm looking for my R. Okay, so that means that's going to be I divided by P and T. That's going to give me my rate. So my rate is equal to my principal of 2,000 divided by my P. Oh my goodness, I'm already messing up. Not that. My interest of $120 times my 2,000 times your 2 years. Okay, if I were to plug that into my calculator. Okay, the answer they should have gotten, the rate should have been 0.03. So that as a percentage, I would times that by 100. So that would have been a 3% interest rate. Okay, and the second one, it says, how long will it take $1,000? This is my principal, to earn $100 of interest. So this is my I, interest, with an interest rate of 0.01. That's my R, okay, of 1%, so 0.01. So I'm looking for, if my formula is I is equal to P times R times T, I'm going to rearrange. It says how long will it take? So I'm looking for T, meaning I'm going to divide by PR. So that means my time is going to be equal to my interest divided by the principal times the rate. The interest was $100. I'm going to divide that by my principal of 1,000 by my interest rate of 0.01. Typing that into my calculator. Okay. The period, how long will it take? I get 10, and that's going to be 10 years because that's a really small interest rate. Okay, so that's going to be 10 years. Perfect. Okay, Let's move on to example 3 and 4, and then you'll be done with me. So it says Sarah is completing her tax form. She earned $30.24 in simple interest from her bank. She remembered investing $1,200 with her bank for a year. What was the interest rate on her investment? Okay, so I have my initial interest is equal to P times R times T. It says, what was the interest rate? So I'm looking for R. So to get R by itself, that means I have to start with I and divide it by the principal and the time. Okay, it says she earned $30.24. This is going to be her interest that she earned. So R is equal to the interest of $30.24. She originally invested $1,200. That's her principal. So $1,200 for 1 year. So that's her time. I'm going to take my calculator, 30.24. I'm going to divide that by 1,200 times 1. I'm going to get 0.0252. If I times that by 100, I get 2.52%. Anytime you have a rate, you want to give it as a percentage, but it will always give you an answer of a decimal. Okay, and last example here. So Steve is saving to buy a used boom lift for his tree trimming business. He needs $9,800 and he saved $9,475. He invests for his savings at 1.59% per year. How long must Steve invest his money to earn the extra $325 he needs? So how long means I'm asking for time. So if I have I is equal to P times R times T, I need to get T by itself. So that means I'm going to divide by P and R. So time is going to be equal to interest divided by PR. Okay, so this one is how much interest he needs. He needs another $325 interest. So that's going to be my I. Okay, that's how much money he needs to make in interest. That's going to be 325 is my I. Divided by my principal. The principal is how much he puts in, and that's this one. The $9,475. It's $9,475. And then the interest rate is 1.59%. So 0.0159. Type that in my calculator. So 325 divided by 9,475 times 0.0159. The time period I get is 2.157. There's a bunch of different decimals. Okay, so I'm going to round it to, I'll say the time he needs is 2.16 years. Perfect. Okay, so that's all that I'm going to go over today for lesson 6. So we're still dealing with the same formula that we were yesterday, just now we need to rearrange them. Okay, make sure that you have these first 3 formulas written down of rearrangement. Okay, I will only ever on the test give you the initial one of I is equal to P times R times T. Okay, and then if I ask you for something, you will need to rearrange the formula. Okay, you just divide by what you already have. Okay, now you can work on your assignment and I will see you all on Monday.